Good morning. Welcome to another episode of The Love Witch. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about matters of the heart and about heart healing and the emotions that we hold in the heart and some things that you can do to increase the energy and vibration of love in your life, to get that flow going and to ease pain from a heartbreak. So I'm really excited about today's episode. And as usual, we'll wait just a few minutes in the beginning to allow people time to plug in before we dive into the description of our card. So I see Monkey Doll Queen in the chat room. Welcome. Good morning. Today is Father's Day. So if there's any fathers tuning in with us today, happy Father's Day to all of you. And I love every single day that we can celebrate something because it just gives us a point of focus of appreciation. And so it's a time of reflection and a time of celebration too. And I guess normally, what do people do on Father's Day? Barbecues, boating, and that's a good reminder. Actually, put that in my calendar, will you please? When we get done with this show, I have to call my dad because he no longer lives here. He has moved. My mom and dad live in Virginia now. So we used to always do that on Father's Day. It was very much a tradition where we'd go out to the family house. We'd water ski on the lake all day. We'd barbecue and just have a nice outdoor day with the entire family. So now that they've been gone for so many years, I think they moved about 10 years ago. And so now on Father's Day, we're like, where do we go? Well, of course, we're all adult and we're all scattered in different parts of the country. So things have changed and things do always continue to evolve. And I think that's a good reminder also to just really appreciate the moments that you have when you're having them, because they're not always going to be there. And because I work a lot with grief and the afterlife, death is also a reminder that things change constantly. And it's a good reminder to stay present and stay heart-centered. So as you move through your day today, just be really present, really grateful. Focus on forgiveness and releasing past issues so you can fully 100% be in the present moment to appreciate the man in your life, the father you have, a stepfather you have. Or if you're a man and you just want to appreciate yourself for showing up for yourself, do it that way. So I just wanted to mention that because that's the energy that's going around.
I think too, just with Father's Day, it's like, I think on the Love Witch, we're very like divine feminine, goddess, like queen energy, but it's also important to recognize like there's also a divine masculine and to honor that and be gentle with that within yourself today too.
Yeah.
A lot of people that might be watching, if you were like older brothers or cousins or whatever.
Like, even if you don't have a father, right? Reach out to another male figure. It could be an older brother, an uncle, a cousin, or teacher, a coach.
Whatever that divine masculine presented itself as in your life, growing up and kind of gave you some of those influences, definitely kind of pay homage to that and send some gratitude out into the universe, living or past too.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And if your father is in spirit, then just take a moment today, light a candle and have a moment of heartfelt connection with him and just send your love. That's all you need to do to establish that connection with him in the spirit world.
And honor the divine masculine within yourself today a little bit too. Maybe make yourself a burger. Roll your socks up, mow the lawn,
have a beer, cigar, whatever. You know what I think is really interesting also, because we do discuss divine feminine a lot. We are in that energy a lot. And one of the things that's really effective to bring about or maybe reveal the divine masculine energy in the males, is to be in your divine feminine energy. And what that means is in the highest version of yourself, where like it's easy to get caught up in the roles of being a mother or being a functional part of a family or just being a hard worker or whatever it is, that you're actually being pulled out of your divine feminine energy in a lot of those ways when you're overthinking, overstressed, overactivity. And when you get back into your divine feminine, you'll feel your sensuality increase. You'll feel the softer, nurturing energy come about in you. And that actually triggers men that are around you to step into or expand upon their divine masculine energy. So we do very much interact with each other's masculine, feminine energies. So keep that in mind as you're coming in contact today with all those fathers in the world or your husband or even young sons, anybody, any masculine energy, and even the masculine energy within yourself. So, oh, hi, David. And so I'll tell you too, I haven't got to say that yet today. Happy Father's Day. We're just discussing all the many ways that we can celebrate the male energy. So whether you're a father or not, happy Father's Day. Okay, we've got It's a Bun Life. Welcome, welcome. Today's episode, we're going to be diving in and talking more about the heart. So I'll have Lonnie put that card up and I'll read what the Spiritual Anatomy Divination card deck has about the heart. And of course, this is the deck that my daughter painted and I wrote all the descriptions. These are available on my website by custom order. Okay, so the heart. And I actually love the way that she did this card. When we started, remember this, when we started this collaboration, Lonnie, I literally gave her a list of 54 titles, and then she had to tune in, meditate, and receive the image that we wanted to present for the cards. So she channeled it and she infused it with healing energy as she hand painted the cards. And so I was kind of fascinated when she came out and when she was literally holding the anatomy of a heart instead of something like cutesy and heart shaped, like this. But that's so relative and so very, very important.
Funny enough, I've had very mixed reactions of people liking or disliking the artwork on this card.
Oh yeah, give us a comment in the chat if you like it or dislike it.
What do you guys think? I'm really curious because I have heard some people are like, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful! It makes me feel so peaceful. It makes me feel like my heart is getting a big hug. There's flowers around it." And then some people are like, "Ugh,
yeah,
are they holding up like an actual that's a real heart? Like,
yeah,
it's not like a cute little bubbly design." And I'm like, it's so interesting to see how people have different emotional reactions to this image. So let us know what you think. I'm very curious. We're very curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the heart, here we go. The heart is always associated with the emotion of love, and this is for a good reason. The emotional the emotional issues that affect the health of your heart have to do with love and lack of love. Surrounding yourself with loving people who care about you is one of the most important things you can do for your heart. If you are afraid to love, so afraid that you live in a self-protective reality, you could do physical damage to your heart. Imagine the heart beating as blood flows into and out of it. Now imagine that the blood is actually the emotion of love flowing into and out of your heart. You will know by this image how well you receive and give love to others. If heart problems run in your family, look at how you express and receive love. This is often a learned behavior rather than a physical inheritance. It is not necessary for you to have a spouse or life partner to experience this emotion. There are many people to love that will love you back. Children are wonderful expressors of love, and it can be very healing to spend some time with some. You may adopt a pet or get involved with donation work. Learning to love yourself prepares you to be loved by others. We talk about that all the time. Yeah. That's the best place to start, actually.
Especially for those empaths that are watching. If it's easy for you to give all of your heart chakra energy away on a daily basis, remember to be very conscious of where that energy is going and make sure that you give a lot of that back to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Unconditional love and acceptance can help you heal any heart-related issues. Be sure to communicate the love you feel through actions and words. I also love that part because so many people express love, they say they love you, but then they don't show up with the meat. You know what I mean? The real solid love gesture. They may show up with romance, they may show up with flowers, but where's the stability, the longevity, the harder decisions, the more committal decisions? That is really the energy of love. So while it's wonderful to experience romance and sweetness and fondness and all of that rush of excitement, the foundation of love is about your future. It's about building a solid, stable future and providing well-being for those that you love, instead of making very short-sighted decisions that could harm those in your life that you love. So that's really important to look at as well.
I want to add to this quick before I forget. We can come back around when we're done with the card, but there's also love languages. So while sometimes you might think that somebody's not loving you properly, and then they're like, what are you talking about? I'm doing the best that I can. And they're confused and flustered. You're confused and flustered. It's important to remember that not everybody speaks the same literal love language.
Yes,
so
that's true.
We'll come back around to that in a second.
We will, Len. That's good. Okay, and here's some additional meanings for you. When too much anger has accumulated in your heart, your personality will become difficult and harsh. Release your anger so you may heal. Someone is trying to love you. Let them in. You may feel that you suffer from a broken heart. If you have, when this card comes up, this is indicative. So some of you tuning in today, you're going to have that. Release your fear about love. You are ready now to embark on the journey of love. Release the pain from old heartache through a steady vocal tone as you meditate on the issue being released. All right. Now, I actually love that. And there is a name for that. Lonnie and I were discussing it right before we came on the show. And in Theta Healing, it's called the Heart Song. It is such an effective healing. It's a spiritual, energetic, emotional healing that literally can change the physical well-being in your heart. It's very, very profound. We do it in the theta state. Sometimes we do it in private sessions with clients where we connect with them and lead them through the tone. But you can also learn to do this with yourself by holding your heart and opening your mouth and just intending to release all the stored pain and trauma that you hold in your heart. The heart holds on to a tremendous amount of disappointment. So anytime that you've really been let down in love, and maybe somebody didn't let you down, but maybe you had different intentions or different hopes and dreams that were not fulfilled. We hold unfulfillment in our heart. We hold all that disappointment right here, right in our physical heart. So it's very, very important to be able to release that energy. And I think the best way to do that is to really restructure the way that we hold on to things of the past so that we're not continuing to carry the disappointment. That may require you to change your story, inner dialogue around what events have happened. Many times when we have had broken hearts or we've been really let down in relationship, we find later on through higher perspective and retrospect that they're actually freeing us for a better experience. And we don't know that until we move forward, but we must release that pain to fully embrace the new and the beautiful and the abundant of what's coming. Okay. So in light of that, we can look at our heart and just go, okay, how many times have I had my heart broken? How many times did I have my dreams unfulfilled? How much disappointment am I carrying? And just intending to go, okay, let's start over right now and today. Let's release that energy so that we're not holding on to that anymore. We can also do direct physical heart healings energetically, where we actually can literally ask, God, creator, source, whatever your version of this amazing energy is, for a new heart. And just be like, okay, this one's been trashed. This one's been broken too many times. Instead of going in there and repairing it all, can you please just give me a new one? And yes, you can receive a regeneration, a new energy in your heart by doing this. So this is just something that you can do in your quiet time. You can do it in a meditation, in a prayer state. You can do it through a strong intention. I always lead people into either the bathtub because it's very conductive place for healing.
Oh my God, and water's great for heart energy.
Yes, very, very good, because it's all about that emotional flow. Mm-hmm. You can also go sit by the river, put your feet in the river, or submerge yourself in the water and intend the healing to like wash out the old emotions as you're cleansing your soul and bringing in new energy for your heart. You can do it in a park. You can do it at a park bench and just tune into the birds around you and get into that beautiful new vibration coming in to feed your heart and soul. So there's many different ways that you can do this on your own as well. And I also do run people through some heart healing in my book, The Love Book. So so of course that's available on Amazon, where it's an actual step-by-step guide to help you become aware of what your negative patterns are, where your love blocks are in your heart, and how to release your pain in your heart so that you can be open and available and basically reprogrammed to receive love. So yeah, be sure to check that out if you're interested. That's on Amazon. It's on a whole bunch of stores. If you just Google it, it'll pop up all kinds of places.
Links for that should be below as well.
Oh yeah, right. The link's always below. I've got a link right down there. Thank you. Okay, so we got more people joining us. I want to take a moment to say hello. Hi, Allison. Do you want to put her comment up?
Thank you for everything that you do.
She had one before that.
Super sweet. Oh, I just missed it. Okay, here it is.
There we go.
Hello, ladies. Just wanted to wish my husband Paul a happy Father's Day.
Yes.
From John, Adrian, and Matthew. P.S. and happy.
Yes, I knew that. We know that your husband's in heaven. Let's all send him a happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Paul.
Day.
Okay, and Brody, thank you for tuning in. Mary, hi. Oh, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. It's wonderful to see you. Okay, so we're going to just talk more about the heart and heart-related issues.
So diving back into what we were mentioning before.
Do you want to come over here?
Yeah.
Okay, Lonnie's going to pop over and share some insights.
All right, I'm looking a little rough today, you guys. I overslept my alarm.
She did. I called her when she was supposed to be here, and she's like giving me the.
I was like, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Her wake-up voice.
I swear this Mercury retrograde, you guys, I set my alarm 3 times and I don't know what happened. Not one of them I hear or went off. I don't know what happened, but we have 2 more days of this and then it's back to business as usual.
Yes.
So just hang in there. We're almost done.
Yeah.
So we're talking about love languages before and how sometimes when you're in a relationship with somebody or even just dealing with people on a daily basis, how like not everybody speaks the same love language. And when they say love language, it really is like speaking like Spanish and English. Like some people are very, very different in how they communicate their affection or how they communicate the ways that they care for the people that are around them. That can be bosses, even if they're trying to like praise you with something and you might be like, what is it? What? Like also there's boundaries with that. So don't let that get weird. But there are 5 love languages and everybody speaks differently. This includes words of affirmation. That's number 1. Quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So how do you communicate your love language? I know for me, quality time is a really big one. Physical touch, not so much. My boyfriend is a big physical touch person. So when we first started dating, he was very cuddly and affectionate. He'd like put his arms around me and hold me. And then at first I was like, oh, that's so cute. He's so cuddly. And then after a while I was like, oh my God, why is he always like hugging me? Like it weirded me out. But and then he'd get really hurt by it because he's like, why won't you like hold my hand? Like, do you not like me? Like, do you not want to be? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I told you that I liked you. Did you not hear me saying it like multiple times today? Like I tell you all the time how much I like you. Because for me, words of affirmation is a huge love language. So words of affirmation and quality time, those are my 2 big ones. For him, it's physical touch and acts of service.
I'm curious to see what other people's are. Can you read them again? Because I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
Read the first one and stop. Let me see.
Okay. Words of affirmation.
I love words of affirmation. And you know what? I would have to say that that's an area that has been weak for me. I think later on in my life, more recently, I've been able to receive words of affirmation in my majority of my life, my youth, and then all the way through so many of my grown-up years. I didn't have people around me that would offer me love and support in words. And so for some reason, they were like always holding back. And so I longed to hear that because I was like, why am I not being congratulated when I've achieved something or when I've worked really, really hard or whatever? So that was always a touchy spot for me. Excuse me. And like my parents were not expressive, so they didn't say I love you or anything like that until really recently, like a few years ago. And so
even I noticed a change. I was like, whoa, did grandma just say that?
Yeah, we're like, when did that start?
What's new?
Yeah,
good for her for character growth.
Everybody grows and evolves, and so no one's ever a finished story. We continue to learn everything every day. But yeah, for the majority of my life, that was a weak area for me. So for me, it's very important for people around me to be able to give me words of affirmation, but in a very authentic way.
Yeah.
Totally not into like schmoozy.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So that's important to know. So if you have a lack in that area, one of the things you can actually do for yourself is start to just talk to yourself in the mirror and give yourself words of affirmation. And it's almost as if you're programming the aura around you to signal others to participate that way.
And words of action or words of affirmation backed with action. I think that's the power punch right there.
Yes.
It's like you can't just say like I love you. You also have to show it.
Yes.
So and you can't just say like I care about you and then like go off and act like you don't care about somebody. Those are two very different things.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
the territory where it becomes like more manipulative than authentic. But
Yes.
I think words of affirmation, when it is followed up by the action steps that back up those words, that's when that love language is really like that's meaningful.
Because I think what happens here is, going back to the heart, you hear the words and you hear the words with your ears, but if it's something you really desire to hear and you just really want to take in that information as truth, then it gets into your heart. Okay. Now somebody's not intending to follow through on those words of affirmation, or they're manipulating you and they said it and they're not going to do it. That's where we hold that energy in our heart, where we're like disappointed. We are not trusting. And then we start to hold a lot of resentment in our heart. We start to build up blocks, walls, barriers, and make it very, very difficult for anyone else to penetrate our heart energy and our emotional system. So this is where we begin to create physical health problems. It starts off emotionally and spiritually and then becomes physical. So when you've had any kind of health concerns at all relating to your heart, of course, go to the doctor.
Always.
But yeah, always. But on another deeper level, you should also make sure, if you're treating anything physically, be sure that you're also treating it emotionally and spiritually, so that you can heal all aspects of what created the problem.
There are some things within your physical body that are within your control, and when energy becomes out of sync, it almost always manifests into a physical ailment.
Yes.
So making sure that you're just kind of on top of like, okay, like this has been an energy that I've been holding in my heart for a long time, finding ways to express that. Even we were just talking about different ways of like crying.
Yes.
Should I talk about that a little
Well,
bit?
no, to finish up the love languages first, and then we'll go back to crying.
Okay.
we will cover crying.
Can you tell us Mercury retrograde? Everything's like, let's go here, let's go there, let's come back.
I know.
Okay, so words of affirmation is the first one. Quality time is the second one.
Yes. I'd like to see if you guys, which ones are you guys really resonating with?
What are your love languages?
Are you big about like for receiving it? Like, how do you really know someone loves you? Is it words of affirmation, quality time,
any of these other ones? Physical touch.
Physical touch. I'm huge about physical touch. I'm a toucher.
Acts of service.
Acts of service.
And receiving gifts. I know you are. She's always trying to like give me hugs and like pat me on the back, and I'm always like,
don't touch me.
I'm like a cat. I'm like, let me.
I'm like, oh,
no,
that is so
no.
beautiful. And I used to do that when she was little. I'd literally kiss her from head to toe every single day, because I was starved for affection when I was a child.
Yeah.
Because my family was non-expressive. So they were not physical huggers. They were not verbal speakers of love, you know? Absolutely. And so I kind of went the other way. I'm like, we were laughing about that too, because every time I write you a card, Lonnie goes, Mom, every single time you write me a card, it's like a love letter, like you're going to die the next day. And I'm like,
so dramatic.
Yeah, because I want to make sure you know. She goes, I know, because every single one since I was a baby, you know, is like so in depth. But I'm like, I just want to make sure she knows.
Well,
you know?
And it's so sweet too. Like, it's not that I don't like it. Like, of course, everybody loves affection. Let's be like, I'm not like this cold, like don't like ugh, like I'm not like a statue. Like, of course it's sweet. It's just everybody expresses it in different ways. So like, I'm not always like the most cuddly back, but I express it with my words of affirmation, which is really funny because that's something that you didn't receive growing up a lot. So my brain just is wired to be very like, you're so smart, you're so intelligent.
Yeah, she's very good at that.
Like, you're on the right track. Like, you're looking gorgeous today. Like, I love your outfit. Like, whatever. Yeah. Like your smile, your energy is sparkling. Like things like that. Where that's just my natural default, I guess.
Yeah, so, you know what, you guys, let's make a decision today to implement some of these like right away, especially if you feel like you might be weak in any of these areas.
For sure.
And I'd like to just challenge everyone to do some positive words of affirmation, speak that language of love today. So whether it's your father for Father's Day, whether it's yourself, whether it's the first person you see after this episode, compliment them, give them a genuine compliment.
One of my favorite pastimes is complimenting strangers.
Yes.
And it's not always received how I want. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I love your outfit. And they're like, thanks. Because they're like, why are you talking to me? And I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm giving good vibes, right? I'm like spreading that energy. And then sometimes it's received so well. They're like, oh my God, girl. Okay, here's a short story. I went to Taco Bell a couple days ago. T-Bell, not spawn. This isn't sponsored. And I'm in the drive-thru line, and the girl giving me my order, she gave me my cheesy bean and rice burrito. That's my order. She had these gorgeous, like, long pink nails, and she hands it to me, and I go, oh my gosh, I love your nails. And she goes, oh my gosh, I love your hair. And we're like, I love your hair. And she's like, no, I love your hair. And it was like 5 minutes, and the other lady in the window, like, who's like running the orders, is like looking at us and like laughing, because she's like, what is happening? Like, and we're just like sending good vibes back and forth. And then she's like, you have an amazing day. And I was like, you have an amazing day. And I like zipped off, and we were both just left feeling so uplifted. And I was having a bad day. So like at the end of that day, I was just like, that's exactly what I needed. Like,
you know what? That's as simple as it can be.
So simple, but it changed the entire outlook of my day. It just completely like rocked it 100%.
Yeah, so, no matter what's going on. And if you just start that momentum by just giving a genuine compliment.
Absolutely.
You know, because of our kind of like restricted verbal expression of love in my family.
Yeah.
It took me a long time. And I literally remember being in 7th grade. That was before I learned how to give physical touch or even a pat on the back. I didn't know how to do that. And one of my friends was crying, and I remember sitting next to her, and I was so blocked up and so scared emotionally.
Baby.
And I was
so sad.
I know, and I sat there and I was like, okay, I've seen other people give comfort. I don't know how to give comfort. And I was like trying to get up my nerves so I could so I could be strong enough to comfort my friend crying. I mean, that's what emotional blockage I had as a child. It took me it was a huge hurdle to overcome. And then once I was able to do it, then I was like, that was my new language. That became my expression of love, because I learned it. You know, I got through that hurdle. So even if it doesn't feel comfortable or natural for you, push yourself to expand into these other areas of offering love and receiving love.
Just because the love language that you currently have is a learned behavior doesn't mean that it's necessarily your love language. Exploring different ones and testing them out and being like, because for you now physical touch comes
more. So
well, I'm as far as I can go. The chair's here. So for you, physical touch is a lot more natural to you, but you wouldn't have ever known that had you never given yourself the opportunity to like test that out. And now you're like, oh my God, it comes so naturally. Like, now you don't even think about it. And it's not even like you're trying to teach yourself. It's like that would have been your natural default had you ever like received that to begin with in the first place.
Right.
So some of these might even be like more natural for you, but you've never had the opportunity to express them because you just haven't had, you know, the awareness or the environment or the support to be able to explore these different ones.
Right. And with physical touch, you know, like even if I'm in conversation with somebody, I might go like that or touch their arm or you know, like,
I do
tease,
that.
You know, like I'll tease.
I do that a lot. Like even my friends will be like, "Why do you hit me all the time?" And I'm like, "It's affectionate."
Yeah.
I get excited.
It's reaching out and touching people, but it's powerful. And because I'm a healer, like I know when I touch people, that my cells are actually communicating to their cells, and that's the real beauty in the form of touch for physical communication and for expressing love. Because even if you're not a healer, it doesn't matter. We all transmute energy from one person to the next when we touch. And when you have pure intentions and thoughts, like I'm not talking about sexual touch right now. I'm talking about just genuine comfort or like, hey, I care about you. I'm here to support you. You can transmute all of that through a simple touch, really quick and easy. And it's just an open-hearted expression. It goes right through from your heart, through your hand and into that other person.
Do we touch on quality time?
Yeah, well, go ahead. You like quality time the best.
I like quality time. I think it shows like somebody's like putting forward an effort. Like they're not just like, you know, saying something and calling it a day and piecing out. They're not just like giving you something and then piecing out. It's like, no, when you spend time with somebody, like for me, time is like a resource that is extremely valuable and extremely limited. We only have so much of it here on this planet. And if you're choosing to spend some of that with me, that says a lot. If you're choosing to spend that time with me, you know, and for like a reasonable amount, like, you know, like I'm not like spend every waking minute with me. Like that's crazy. But
no, because you're actually kind of a cat.
I am a cat.
So people that don't know Lonnie is that she's a cat. So when she spends time with you, she really wants quality time.
It's because I want to. Like
No. But what I was going to say is, like, because what you've always gotten upset about is when someone says they want to get together with you and you get very excited about reconnecting, and then you get there and there's 3 or 4 other people and there's no personal interaction or time or quality time or connection on a more intimate personal level, because it's like a crowd.
Yeah.
That was always very upsetting for you.
It shifts it from a very like personal dynamic to where there is quality time, there's meaning, there's connection, into a more social, superficial space where I get really excited about like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hang out with this person, we're gonna have so much fun, we're gonna like really connect and talk about deep topics, and then it would shift into more of like a kind of party-ish dynamic where it was just very kind of superficial, and it didn't
you show up but you're not really getting that connection.
You show up and I'm just like, I leave and I'm like, I just did small talk for 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I'm drained. Like I can't. Like I just don't have that in me. Like I get so drained. Like I can only do small talk for so long.
And you are, she's normally like a cat. So after she has like any kind of interaction, then you retreat and you have a lot of personal time.
Yeah, and I peace out and I go do my thing.
Yeah, a lot. So like when we were living together, we're both like cats in that way. We're like, we go have our activities and socialize and do our work, and then we go retreat. And it's and we're like, okay,
a couple days.
Yeah, exactly. Even in the same house, it's so funny.
My roommates always joke. They're like, "Is Lonnie home? I don't know. Is she somewhere?" Because I literally am just doing my own thing, like just chilling, like. Listening to my music, lighting my candles.
Well, let's talk about the heart again. Let's talk about what people can do, because we were talking about.
Oh, we got 2 more.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so then we have acts of service. So that would be maybe somebody puts gas in your car.
Yes.
Maybe somebody shovels the driveway for you to make sure that when you leave for work in the morning, you don't have to trudge through snow and get your work pants all snowy and dirty.
Yeah, I love acts of service.
Cooking you breakfast.
So nice.
There's so many, mowing the lawn, just things without asking, where there's no expected like return, but it's an act to provide you something that will make your life a little bit easier, flow more naturally, and just something that'll just help you out in your day. It's just an act of love. My friends, I have 2 very good friends, and the boyfriend in the relationship, one of his love languages is acts of service. And it's really, really cute to see how he does that with my friend, because he will do things like put gas in her car, or like if she's going out of town, he'll make sure the whole house is clean before she leaves. He'll clean it before she comes back so that she can return to a very nice, like open, like clean, loving space.
That's awesome.
Super, super thoughtful in that way. So, yeah.
Okay, and then what's the last one?
Receiving gifts or giving gifts.
Oh, I love that one too.
I think everybody gifts. To a certain level loves it. But for some people, like for me, like for example, like you can give me gifts, I'll love them. But if that's your only act of love for me, it feels like you're trying to buy me.
Yes.
And I get kind of.
So I kind of think what people should be very consciously aware of is not what their love language is, but making sure that they are actually touching and using all 5.
Yes.
Not to do one, because as we found out, if you only have one, then it doesn't feel like there's real fulfillment or connection in the entire connection of love.
And you are a mix of all of these. Yeah. And you have certain strengths and you have certain weaknesses, and knowing what your strengths are can help you improve in other areas, but just kind of being aware of like how you give and receive love is going to be extremely valuable for your heart, because then you know when somebody's trying to give you love and maybe it's not your love language and you're like, I'm having a hard time receiving that, understanding why you're having a hard time receiving it, and then being able to say, okay, like this is their love language. How can I reciprocate in a way that will provide them with an energy in return? Or how can I understand that I am also capable of receiving this, even though it's not necessarily my first language? It could be my second, third, fourth, fifth language. You can be multilingual. So finding ways to receive that and incorporate that and have gratitude for the way that they're presenting that love for you can be extremely valuable.
And I think I might have learned that one, the gift giving, in my childhood, because birthdays were a big deal. Christmas was a big deal. Easter, all the holidays. My parents did a really amazing job for having 8 kids. They were so thoughtful and so well prepared for every holiday. So that was an act. That was probably the one thing that I did see as a love language, because my holidays were very stable and very special in terms of, we had the tree, it was decorated, we had cocoa, we'd eat breakfast, we'd open toys, we'd play with the toys, And so that kind of structure around gift giving did feel like love for me. So I love gifts. And so when somebody is around me and I'm a gift giver because I learned that language. So if I'm with somebody that doesn't give gifts, I feel totally like not seen. I feel very like, why you're not appreciating me? Why wouldn't you give me gifts? That should just be natural. It's natural for me to give you gifts.
That's an area that I can improve on, because I'm not necessarily a natural gift giver, but I know that when I do give gifts, I put like a lot of thought and meaning into it, because it's like I don't want to just give to give, because it's not my first language, but learning how to incorporate, like, okay, like for you, for example, that's how you receive. So it's like, okay, if I know that that's how you receive, and I want to show gratitude for something, or I want to show love and appreciation, or I just want to like make you feel special because I care about you, then I can say, okay, so she receives love through gifts. What can I give her that's meaningful, that can make her feel important and loved and cared for today? Because that's the goal at the end of it. It's not really about the gift, it's about the gesture and the way that you're communicating your love language to that person.
Yeah, and knowing how someone's going to receive it. So that's really, really important to know who you're dealing with in terms of selecting the way to show your love for them. And we were talking about another way, like just in terms of the heart, when you have had so much disappointment, heartache, you've had unfulfilled dreams, and you're carrying that energy. We were talking about, connecting with water, nature, all these different things to help you release that old stale energy in your heart, to help you really get back in the flow, bringing in new feelings or new perspectives around your old situations to help you shift your emotional state. And that will help free up your spiritual and energetic energy, emotional energy for love and for your heart. But we were also talking about, before the show, we were talking about crying.
Yeah.
And crying is so amazing. And so many people are like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. And it's like, oh, for crying out loud, go turn on a sad movie and cry your eyes out. Crying is so good for you, because what I noticed, and I have done this in my life at different points in my life, when life has gotten very hard and there's been a lot of challenge and struggle, I have tended to protect my heart so I wouldn't feel that pain or that fear that was occurring at that time. And then it's kind of almost like you're kind of just going through the scenario with your eyes. You're witnessing it, but you're not feeling it anymore. That's like a survival mode, right? You're in survival mode. You're just trying to get through. But then after the event,
when trauma response.
Yeah, trauma response. So when the event would come to a closure, completion, then I would find that all my emotions would be released at that time. Okay. And that would be tears, that would be sadness, grief.
Some people, speaking of trauma responses, it's really common for people that have experienced like significant upheaval or turmoil in their lives, that when everything is fine, sometimes years down the road, they'll suddenly have this wave of intense sadness and reflection upon those experiences. Because what happens is your brain is in survival mode for so long that it learns how to suppress that until you are in a space where you are genuinely, truly safe. And then all of a sudden your brain is like, now I'm safe to express this energy. Now I can actually feel what I was feeling.
That's an absolute normal thing.
And it's okay. And let it go. Just when it comes up, when it comes, find a space to release it, safely, peacefully.
Yeah. So if you feel like this sudden urge of like emotion rising to the surface and you feel tearful, don't think there's anything wrong with you, and don't think that you're stuck in your past. You're just right now feeling the feelings that you did not allow yourself to feel when you were going through it.
Yeah.
Because you had to survive it. Okay. So you put yourself under like lock and key for a while to protect your heart. But what does happen when you stay in that cycle for too long, it's really harmful for your physical heart.
Oh, yeah.
It can cause a lot of different health problems. So it's real important to, recognize that sooner and find a way to work through those emotions sooner, so you're not in elongated period of time like that. It's very hard on your adrenals. It's hard on many different organs in your body, but especially the heart.
Well, I think in our culture too, especially like American culture, like, guys aren't supposed to cry. Speaking of fathers, a lot of men are not, it's not manly to like have emotions or to cry, but like that's why men are more, likely to have heart problems, have heart attacks, because it's literally harming your body when you are not expressing your emotions in a healthy way, giving yourself the space to cry or be sad. I'm gonna pop in. Giving yourself a space to cry or be sad, like it will genuinely cause physical harm to your body. And then women as well, women are kind of being put down for being like, oh, she's too emotional, she cries all the time, and then it makes us scared to express our emotions too. So I think just in our society, crying is a very complicated kind of thing, but it's also, I think it's becoming more and more accepted over time because we're understanding like it's actually extremely important. It's extremely healthy.
Very good for your health.
It's very good for your health. And we were talking about there, even last night, there's 3 different types of tears. And the first is the one that cleanses your eyes naturally. The second one is the one that if you get like an eyelash in your eye, your eyes will water and it'll help it'll flush it out. And the third one is emotional tears. So, and it's scientifically proven that when you cry emotional tears, it changes the chemistry of your brain. So when you're experiencing deep sadness or turmoil or whatever in your brain, it's a literal emotional cleanser as well. It changes the hormones in your brain.
Yeah, I think that's so important.
So it puts your brain back into a healthy space when you do cry. This is studied, this is tested. You can find this research online.
So then what it does is your brain is now, after having this emotional cleansing and release, is able to grab onto newer, more healed thoughts around your scenario. So it's not an energy of staying in it. And I think that's the resistance people have about tuning in with sadness and crying, is they're like, I don't want to live through it again. Oh, I don't want to go through that and stay in that energy. But it's like, did you actually cry and process out those feelings? Because if you've been storing it, honey, it's in your heart and it's creating a block so people can't get in and give you all those beautiful love languages and connect with you. And even if they are, so there's also another thing where people are missing feelings in their feeling system, that when somebody is showing up to love them, they can't feel it. They're so blocked off and they haven't learned how to receive that way yet. And so they might intellectually experience love as showing up to do this checklist, that. And that's all intellectual. It's all in your head instead of in your heart. And we really want our head and heart to be connected. It's absolutely essential when it comes to the energy of love. The other thing is, when you're not able to receive love, this is the area of the heart that gets damaged, the actual physical heart. And when you're not able to give love, it's more the arteries or the part of the heart that pumps blood back out. And that's why Lonnie did the image in the picture this way, to demonstrate the actual image of the heart, because quite physically, it is how you receive and give love that creates the healthy heart physically.
It blossoms. It grows, Flowers bloom when your heart is healthy.
Yeah.
You feel that within too. And I think when anybody's in a space where they're feeling really, really peaceful, it does feel like there's a nice little sanctuary.
I love that.
It's a sanctuary within your heart, and you just feel like you resonate with the energy of peace, and it just feels like a little garden in there. So it's a gift, and also being able to give your heart. In the photo, you can't tell if she's giving or receiving, and I think I like that because it's both.
So one of the things you can do is, if you feel like you've had some blockages around your heart, you don't have to do it today. It's Father's Day. But if you have some time, the next time I should say that you have some time, it would be a good idea to just sit with yourself and say, what am I still holding in here? What still makes me sad? What have I not released? What have I not forgiven? What do I still feel disappointed by? And just make a little list for yourself. Tune in with your own emotions in your heart. Write it down, and then set it aside and flip on Netflix and find a sad movie that will make you cry. And even though it's unrelated, you might be crying about the drama in the movie, you're going to be releasing the energy around all those stored events. And that can really help you tune in with reconnect you again with your own emotions and your own feelings that you've been actually kind of blocking off. That's a really, really good way to just get reconnected and more open-hearted and more available and ready for love and for emotional connection.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So are there more questions in here, Lonnie?
Hey, if you guys have any sad movies that you want to recommend in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Not just sad, but
heartfelt.
Something that helps you express that emotional energy. And, so what's your sad movie? What's your go-to?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
I know. I was trying to think of mine too.
I can't think of it right off the bat.
I was going to say Eat, Pray, Love, but I cry for a lot of different reasons when I watch, and we mention that all the time on this channel, but I cry for a lot of reasons when I watch that. It's like happy cries. It's like, oh, like she's so heartbroken cries, or, oh, I resonate with that cries. And then by the end of it, it's like a happy, like blissful, like, oh, she's so happy cry. So but finding something that, don't just cry just to cry and be sad.
Yeah,
the point is to cry so that you can release, but also find the silver lining through it too. So find a movie that's not just sad, but like sad but beautiful.
But I'm just saying, in order to get that system connected again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you become disconnected with it, you don't feel anything. That's the bad and the good.
Yeah.
And so we do want to after being through a crisis or trauma, we do want to feel a safe space where we can re-tap into the energy and let it out.
Titanic makes me cry.
For sure. That's a good one. That's a great one.
Can't watch it anymore. I mean,
well, I used to always, what was the one with Bette Midler? Wind Beneath My Wing? Oh, no, Beaches.
Beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beaches. That's a crier.
That is a crier.
So many good criers.
Oh, so many. What are your criers?
Okay, so put some comments up there or questions if we have any.
We have.
Oh, I see Allison's comment.
Allison says here, I just want to say that it's 10 months that my husband Paul died, and I'm so sad of what's going to happen to me and my sons, John, Adrian, and Matthew.
Okay. Because you're carrying grief, and we do carry grief in our heart. We carry grief in our heart and lungs. And as you know, there's a process to this and healing. And with grief, it comes like cycles, right? It's like a wave. And sometimes we feel like we're doing really good and our life's coming back together and we're feeling very positive. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves back in grief. Or for a day, we're so sad and we lose our direction. And that's absolutely normal. It's absolutely normal for you to experience that as you're moving through that process. And everyone has their own timeline on it. But Allison, it's so wonderful that you're able to send Paul a happy Father's Day in heaven, that you're able to celebrate his energy, give him some extra love today, thank him for being a good father, for being in your life, and assure him that you're doing everything you can to move forward and embrace your new experiences, that you understand and know that he's still with you in spirit. You're so grateful for his constant guidance, love, and support, and that you are moving forward and you are healing. Okay. It's just such a beautiful full cycle that goes around at this time. And yeah, he's still with your family so much, and you're on the right track. You're doing really good. Actually, we should be having my new book come out with any luck within the next month. I've got a really good book coming out. It's very special about kind of moving through the entire process from hospice or pre-death through death. What happens? What does the heaven look like? How is that created? Why is it different for different people? Moving through to the afterlife process, how to connect with your loved one, what signs and symbols to look for. So it's kind of a full book, a guide to take you through the process. And I've been working really hard on it. Lonnie's been doing a lot of my editing. And we should have that available pretty soon.
Absolutely.
So we'll let you know, Allison, when that's available.
It's honestly really, really valuable information, and it's so well written. And anybody that's ever experienced any form of grief, whether it's the loss of a pet, the loss of a loved one, even the loss of self, you can grieve parts of yourself that have passed
That's true.
There's so many pieces from that book that anybody can take with them, and it's so beautiful and touching and uplifting. There's personal stories. Your friend Dee kind of added to it as well.
Yes, Dee contributed some very valuable stories because she has similar experiences with hospice, with mediumship, with healing, with being in haunted houses, with having a lot of afterlife experiences. So yeah, she has some very valuable stories in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll let you guys know when that's available.
We'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull a couple hearts here to give you guys some messages about love and healing your heart or whatever else. We are guided. Whoops, I got a hole in my bag. Okay. Okay. And so your message today, I'm going to pull 3 of them. Okay. Month. So a month. Whatever that means for you. Is it a month until you're completely healed in your heart? Is it a month until you meet your soulmate? Is it a month that everything in your life changes? Have you decided to shift your experiences and interpretation of your life within this next month? What is going to happen for you that's so special, so exciting, so big, so grand, so adventurous in the next month? So whatever that is for you guys, it'll be something different for each and every one of you. Put some emphasis and some focus on the next month. And I love it that it's in summer because, that includes really easily getting outside to do stuff in nature and how healing that is. So make sure you plan some really fun things within the next month. Okay. Let me pull another one. Oh shoot, they're all falling out. Oh, okay. Nice. Who's gonna have a pool party? Okay, you guys, is it like what's that, 6 degrees of separation?
I think so.
Yeah.
6, 7.
Okay. Everyone is at least that 6 degrees of separation from somebody that has a pool. So get yourself invited
From
to
somebody that has a pool.
So get yourself invited to a pool party. Call some friends, get together, or go to the community pool or whatever that is. Get out and have some fun in the sun. Enjoy yourself. Build your community, friend group, friend circle. Just have some fun. Very, very important. That's one of your very powerful messages for today. And you know what? I just enjoyed, I have been going to pool parties. And then my friend Sean invited us out, some friends yesterday out on his boat on the St. Croix River. And it was absolutely blissful. Absolutely. So I got a little bit of a suntan. Oh yeah, there's my tan lines. So nice to be out and just, I was just all day long. I just felt like it was a day of like perfection. It's been a long time since I've been on the river. It's been a long time since I boated. And I just love every aspect of it. The wind in my hair, the sun on my body. We swam, we had some cocktails, we mingled, we listened to great music, and every single cell in my body was happy. Okay. And so allow yourself these experiences. Find that bliss state for yourself. There's nothing better for your heart than to find that bliss state. Okay. And the last heart message today, 222. So look for those double, triple numbers. Okay. It doesn't have to be 222. It could be 22. It could even be 2. But look for those multiple numbers of 2. This is significant. The significant life changes happening. This is like your spirit guide team sending you messages. Could be your loved ones in heaven saying, hey, I hear you. I hear your prayers. I hear what you're saying to me. I'm answering you. And for those of you that are looking for your soulmate, this can lead you right to them. Okay.
Also, 2 is a number of coupling. So
it is a number of coupling. That's why the 2 is so significant. So this is all about love. This is not just about job. No, 222. That's about couples energy. So yeah, pay attention. That's a very important symbol for somebody. So look at license plates as you're driving. Look at the clock. Look at whatever other number sequence shows up. 222 will be leading you to your love. Okay. All right. So is that it, Lon? Are we ready to wrap it?
I think that's it. We
All right.
Remarks today.
You guys, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you being here. We hope you find this very valuable to take care of your heart, to love yourself. Remember, the more love you put into yourself, the more love languages you actually implement for yourself on yourself, the more you'll also train your aura so other people know how to come in and love you. Okay, so let's start there.
Let's be fluent in love.
Yeah, let's. What did you say? Multilingual. All right, you guys. Well, let's just end it right there. I love you, and thank you for tuning in, you guys. Thank you for being a part of the Love Witch.